Hi everyone, welcome back for another local show live on the Instagram Live. And today we're going to be having Melanie Davis. Yep, there she is. I knew she would. She was quick on that. She was quick on that. So now we're just waiting for her to join, and there she goes. She's requested to join, and we're just waiting on her for it to connect. So, hi.
Hello.
Oh my gosh, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, dealing with all this COVID stuff, so there's that. Yeah.
Yes, times are absolutely crazy, but the day is really nice outside, so that
Yeah,
is good.
I
Yeah.
got to go outside earlier with my mom and my sister, and we just kind of hung out and ate some
Yeah.
food. So it was really nice. It was really nice.
Yes, for sure.
I'm just going to remind everyone that we have a giveaway at the end of this interview. And make sure you stay the whole entire time so you can see what you have won. There should be a sticker, a t-shirt, and a
Mhm.
CD if I'm correct. So
Yes.
if you stay for the whole entire interview, then you might be able to win some cool stuff. So yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna ask you maybe like one or two questions, and then you can go ahead and play a song if you'd like. Um,
hmm
so how long have you been involved with music?
well, I feel like music has always been around, in some ways since I was little. My siblings, I have two older siblings, and they are both musicians, so that helped being around that. And then I was a voice major in college. I went to Murray State, um, but I didn't start playing guitar until I think 2016. So I'd written songs before that, but I had just like programmed guitar parts instead of actually learning how to play them. So about 4 years with this shtick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was it? How did you like? Because I personally am trying to learn the guitar right now.
Yeah.
And I know, especially when you're a beginner, it's kind of frustrating because you have that like hump you have to get over of just like learning the chords, building that muscle.
hmm
How long did it take you to finally get over that little hump?
I'm not sure. It just like caught me at the right time and I got obsessed with it temporarily. So in between classes or any chance I got, I was trying to get over that hump. But I mean, I I would argue that I'm in my own humps as it is. I don't know if it ever stops because you're constantly like trying to do a new thing. But when I first started out, it was like the way I completely didn't get burnt out was I would learn specific chords for a song. So I'd learn like G major and E minor because it was in a cover that I wanted to play. And then all of a sudden, I had a new song that I could play, and I also knew these new chords. So that had helped a lot.
Mm-hmm. What would you say is like what you first started off wanting to learn? Has it changed with now what you want to learn now? Um, like the
Yeah, I think so. So like my college education in music was all classical, and I approached guitar with a very like folk indie, approach. I knew that I wasn't gonna try to do anything insane classically. Um, but now that I've been playing for longer, I am really interested in sort of getting a little more noodly, playing less rhythm and more lead parts. So that's been cool. With all this free time that I have now, that
yeah,
is what I've been working on.
yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have any other like jobs other than being a musician?
Yes, I do. So I work at the local radio station in Murray, actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
so I was super excited when you reached out to me because I love small local radio stations. They're my favorite. Um, so I worked at WKMS, and then I also work at a liquor store in town. And normally, when there's not, a pandemic going on, I teach lessons as well. So guitar, piano, and voice.
Awesome. That's great. I
Yeah.
love that. I mean, I understand that sometimes being a full-time musician, it's not the best way of having a full-on income, but
Right.
I
Yeah,
mean, as long as you're doing what you love, then really that's like the only thing that matters. So,
for sure. Yeah.
okay, why don't you start off with your first song?
Yeah, definitely. This one is off of Allegoria, which I released in January of this year. We were actually supposed to go on tour through the Northeast in March, and then, sort of put a halt to that. But this is called Mesopotamian Blues, and I wrote it a long, long time ago, but it seems to be like more fitting now than ever. So this is Mesopotamian Blues. I got a lot going on in my head, like, would it really be better off dead, or was that just something cool I said? Is the depressing isolation all a part of the cause, just a backlit distraction from the lion's claws? More preventative measures for making sure our brains don't thaw. And you're just as scared as me of saying all we can do is hope and pray. But I called God, He moved away. Paper dolls thrown in the trash, you wanna leave, so make it fast and blow out the last cigarette ash. I got a lot going on in my brain, wondering if this is what it's like to go insane. So the Midwest's not the best for working on emotional range. Are we doomed as a species to just wander lost? Had some kind of greater purpose, but we just forgot. Time to clear your head, darling. Your favorite TV show is on. Masses of people torn apart, convinced they wouldn't affect the heart, turning chemical deficits into art. That's not what you meant, you said as you lay down in your little bed, but you think to yourself, maybe this is for the best.
Yay, that was awesome.
Thank you.
Great, I loved it. So those lyrics, those are powerful lyrics. I mean, obviously, I
Thanks.
think you would consider yourself like a folk singer.
Mhm.
So it kind of makes sense, but also like when I first listened to them, or like any song of yours really, I was just like, I was listening to the lyrics and I was just like, oh, wow, that makes sense. And I was like, I never thought about it like that.
Well, thank you.
So,
That's awesome.
I mean, if you would want to dive into those lyrics really quick and just kind of explain how you came up with those.
Sure. A lot of Allegoria, I'll try to do it tastefully because I know we're affiliated with a radio station right now, but a lot of Allegoria was written about feelings I was feeling around 2016 and all of the current events that were going around there. And I was thinking about that, and I was also sort of thinking of that online trend where we really just we lighten the topic of mental health to the point of joking about it, like it's totally normal. And, all of these really serious things we can just say, and it's sort of a coping mechanism and also a way to avoid it entirely. And yeah, so those ideas, plus with everything that was going on, I just sort of imagined or wrote a bunch of lines about how weird I thought things were. Like, we joked about wanting to die, but also you live in a time where like possibilities are endless and you want to do all these things and then you feel bad because you can't do all the things you want to do. Um, and Mesopotamian blues, that title came from, one of the first societies, and it's just the cyclical nature of humans being unhappy because of what we've done to ourselves. I don't know if any of that made sense, but
No, it completely made sense. Like,
yeah.
I totally get that. I'm a Gen Zer, so
Hmm.
we're kind of like in this stage where like, haha, depression, funny.
Yeah,
So,
and
like,
it's like you really feel that way, but also, isn't it hilarious? Like,
yeah.
life is futile.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's like like with memes, especially like we're all just kind of like,
for
haha, we
sure.
got depression out here. What's up? But
Yeah,
they're all we all have depression.
yes, exactly. Meso was definitely like a take at the Tumblr culture of mental health and things like that.
Oh gosh, I
Yeah.
totally remember that.
Hmm.
It's
Yep.
definitely in that era where I was just like, I would go on Tumblr, especially around that time because I was like a freshman in high school. So I would be like, I'm sad. I'm gonna go on Tumblr and make myself more sad.
Like, here's a picture collage about how I'm feeling today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, okay, so with that, how does your
Mhm.
songwriting process usually go about and like how do you find inspiration? I know that you wrote Allegoria during 2015, 2016.
Mhm.
So, I mean, and I think that's your only album you have out like currently, right?
Yeah, like a full studio album.
A
Hmm.
full studio album, but I'm sure you've probably written songs before too and
Hmm.
not released those. But so how does that
Right.
usually go?
It changes. A lot of times the sort of method that will happen is I'll write free form poetry that doesn't have any sort of rhyming scheme. Because I'm really good at backing myself into a corner all of a sudden. As soon as I think I know what a rhyming scheme or chord progression should sound like, all of a sudden I don't have the right words that fit it anymore. So I try to avoid that, and then I cherry pick lines from the poetic mush that I had made before. And then sometimes I'll have a chord progression already in mind. Other times I'll be messing around with something and I'll like what I hear, so I find some lyrics I haven't really used yet. Uh, some of the stuff that I've been doing recently that's going to be on an EP I'm going to release at some point in the near future, uh, all of the guitar came first almost. It was pretty weird. I have never been as involved with my guitar playing as I have been right now.
That's really cool. Yeah, because a lot of artists, like last week, I talked to Corduroy Orbison, and they were
Mm-hmm.
telling me how they kind of just have a little jam session, and then they figure out the lyrics, and then it just kind of all flows. But I mean, it's different for everyone, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Sometimes you think of things and you're like, oh, that's really good. So you like write them down, and then you like try to match it, but then sometimes it just doesn't work, and sometimes it does. So
For sure. I have lots of notes in my phone that's like, write a song about this, or like one-liners that I wanted to remember. So lots of those for sure.
yeah. So like I said, folk artist, is that how you would mainly describe your music?
I think so, yeah. When I try to make it more specific, I call it folk jazz. I think it sort of blends, vocal techniques in more of the jazz vein, but then, some of the playing styles that I'll do are more like Appalachian, fingerstyle picking, or Americana. Um, but really, it depends on the song you hear from me, I guess. I have some that sound definitely more Americana or country, and then others that sound totally weird and jazzy. So
Mm-hmm.
jazz folk sort of wraps it all up in a pretty bow that's easy to remember.
That's what I whenever I first listened to your album, I could hear a little bit because I'm a major Lana Del Rey fan,
Oh,
and you have a
yes, me
voice
too.
that's similar, I think, to the style that Lana Del Rey sings,
Well,
which
thank
is like
you.
nice because I love Lana Del Rey, and so
Yeah.
it's like, and with that, her music was also kind of I wouldn't say obviously it's not really folk, but it's more
Mhm.
a poppy folk, if that makes sense, because she is like
Yeah.
speaking in a way that makes it seem like it's like poetry or a story, and but
Hmm.
it's very like poppy, like low
Yes,
low key poppy, not like pop, but
for sure. Her arrangements are so beautiful, and I've dove back into before she was Lana Del Rey and she was like Lizzie Grant and May Jailer and all that. Honestly, her May Jailer albums were really helpful when I first started playing guitar because I knew it was her playing guitar, and I was like, well, if Lana Del Rey can do it and then become this, it was neat seeing how she evolved from just an acoustic guitar to the huge like orchestra arrangement she has now.
yeah, that's definitely true. Um,
Hmm.
so what song would you like to perform next?
Well, I think I want to do one from the EP that's gonna come out
Awesome.
soon. Yeah, so it's called, I feel like I have to say this first. It's a collection of sort of abnormally personal songs. I have lots of songs that are personal, but I normally don't put all of them together on a single release. Uh, so it's called Dear Diary, Do You Hate Me? And it's a little quip at how we can convince ourselves that literally everybody hates us and everything we're doing is wrong, even though that's not necessarily true. This song is called Dandelion, and I wrote it about feeling weird in quarantine. So, seems fitting. It was only until the earth stood still that I could hear the birds sing. I could see only then the violet beds peeking through clover and rows of dead nettle green. Wandering through a daydreaming blue, is anything just what it seems anymore? I just look to the dandelion weeds in the yard. Oh, I'm trying to keep up the fight, but it's hard. I watch as the poison oak clings to the tree, while I push from my mind that the tree is me. And as long as the grim reaper peers through the screen, I'll move my gaze to focus on these. The coyotes overtook the Golden Gate Bridge yesterday. Guess we finally got out of their way. The waters ran clear again and up around Lake Michigan. The red foxes lay, and an especially cerulean April day. It's the sign of our times, a fist or a dime. And just when these thoughts tingle into my mind, I just look to the dandelion weeds in the yard. Oh, I'm trying to keep up the fight, but it's hard. I watch as the poison oak clings to the tree, while I push from my mind that the tree is me. And as long as the grim reaper peers through the screen, I'll move my gaze to focus on these. It was only until the earth stood still that I could hear the birds sing.
love that. That was great. Oh my
Thank
God.
you.
One of my favorite lines in that was like the Grim Reaper looking through the
Hmm.
screens. That was just, I don't know, I could picture that in my head, and that's what made it like really stick with me, I think, because,
Thank you.
that's the best thing when you can listen to lyrics and you can just visualize them in your head, or you're like, oh,
Hmm.
I feel that.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so with writing music and producing music, who would you say are your biggest influences?
Well, for sure, Lana Del Rey. Uh, she's definitely up there. Yes. And she sort of opened things up for me as far as like vocal colors go, sort of how high or low I can take a melody, even if it feels like it's in the extremes of my range. Um, and lyrically, it's from, a whole bunch of different people. I like folk artists from the 60s, like Joni Mitchell and Joan Baez, Laura Nyro. Yeah, I'm trying to think of others. And I also like classic rock. Like that's my favorite genre of music to listen to, although nothing I write sounds like it. It somehow influenced me. It's somewhere in there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With me, I know that my music taste tends to change a lot,
Mhm.
especially as I get older, I guess. And I used to be really into classic rock. I still am, obviously.
Yeah.
But then I kind of went through like, different phases where I just went through indie, and then I just went to folk, and then I just went to all these different ones. So I feel like it always is changing with me, but I
Mhm.
do kind of stick with one genre, and then once I get tired of it, I feel like kind of like navigate to the next genre where, especially like
Yeah.
where I am in life, I
Hmm.
guess. Like right now, I listen to a lot of indie rock and a lot of just like indie in general. And so, I mean, I'm always like looking out for whenever artists will release new songs and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of fun, finding
It
music.
is. Yeah, and it's crazy how different avenues can lead you to different places, the bands that sort of show up because of algorithms, how those can be these little
Mhm.
treasures that you wouldn't have found otherwise. It's really neat.
Yeah, I was listening to Beach House last night
Yeah.
because I don't know. I also felt nostalgic towards like my freshman year where I was like really getting to music. So I was like, I'm just gonna listen to music. I'm gonna like put away the distractions. I'm gonna put my phone away. I'm just gonna like turn off the lights. I'm just like close my eyes and like I'm just gonna listen to music. And it was really nice. And I hadn't done that in a while. So I mean,
Yeah,
that's like I don't know. That's a little bit of therapeutic to me. So yeah,
for sure. Yes, I
yeah,
agree.
yeah. It's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Um. Do you want to do another song?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Let's see. I think I'll do one from Allegoria. This one is called Sisters, and I had written it after or like during the Kavanaugh hearing. I sort of got down this dark rabbit hole of how in different times throughout history women are sort of the scapegoat for all of the evil or corruption or lying. Like it all comes down to either the woman is a witch or the woman is lying. Either way, you know, we're gonna. I don't know how I want to articulate that, but you know what I mean. So this is Sisters. It's written about that sort of women's perspective throughout history. My sisters and mothers from the times before, the star shadowed my eyes, call back to me through highways of nerves that plug into the back of my mind. I find it's getting worse with the times, don't you? Just blind enough to blame it on a shadow in the dark or two. They'll string us up to pillars, muscle statuettes, Medusas and Madonnas, cat-eyed darkness feared by men. The First sinners and then the dead of Eden's crime only just began. Covered up her mouth with a filthy shaking hand. So they douse our feet in pious flames. They writhe and burn and wrap around the name of these Magellanic monsters to be tamed. I'll burn them up and still do you want it more? No godly love raised marks upon the door of any actor who forgot what her heart was for. And I know it's probably met with greater ease if I could simply ignore a tattered tapestry spray painted over, the golden edges torn. No more the giver of life see to those who take, imploring them importance to an audience of ears that ache. I found the story sweeter said by those who did to taste the blood-soaked, gory, rich, predatory steel into space. Till I tie my fight, taking back my heart like that one night, back without a smile, just for my own spite. So they douse our feet in pious flames. They ride and burn and wrap around the name of these Magellanic monsters to be tamed. A million dead and still they come for more. They don't crave our flesh, no, they just crave the war of any actor who forgot what her heart was for. Oh no, I cannot hear you. I wonder if this is a me problem or a you problem? I'm not sure.
Okay, so something happened with the sound. With going live on Instagram and platforms like these, this stuff is bound to happen. So hopefully Melanie will get back with us shortly. I think she saw my message, so we'll just wait and see when she gets joined. Oh, I think she's gonna request to join soon. Yep. Hi,
Okay.
Melanie. Sorry.
Hello. No, it's
I'm
okay.
sorry about my sound. I don't know what happened. It
No,
just went
that's
out.
yeah.
I mean, you sounded good
Thank you.
until it went all crazy. But yeah, so that song, let's just act like nothing happened. I added that to the station, so I really like that song. I especially like whenever it's like pious, something about flames.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
thank you very much. That's like a little a Salem witch trial nugget, but yeah.
yeah, that's what I picked up on because
Hmm.
I mean, I'm really into that kind of stuff. I'm not like a witch or anything, but I
Yes.
I I enjoy learning about that kind of stuff and like the Salem witch trials and all that kind of jazz. So
Yes.
it was a really cool song to listen to and be like, oh,
Well, thank you.
yeah. Um, okay, so before a performance, how do you prepare and practice in order to, get yourself ready?
I don't know if I have a method necessarily. I got really lazy when we were playing out a lot because, we'd have like 2 or 3 days a weekend, so I wouldn't actually practice. I would just be like, I'll practice at the show, you know. And then in January, we took like a 3-week hiatus from playing out like we normally do, so the Allegoria push could be like the first big thing that we did. And I learned quickly that if I don't have gigs, I have to like force myself to practice, or I'll get really rusty. Um, but some gigs are a little easier to approach than others. Like I play at restaurants a lot sometimes, and you know, a lot of times those places just went ambiance. They're not
Hmm.
really that concerned, just as long as I'm not spouting expletives or, you know,
Hmm.
yelling at people. They're usually good with whatever. And, as far as the other shows go where it feels a little more important, to really like be there and cherry pick and present the best stuff. I'm not sure. I've always really liked the rush you get. I was a theater kid and I was a band kid and a choir kid, so the performance was what I went for, which is convenient now considering the career I'm trying to go in.
Yeah, that's awesome. A lot of my friends, yeah, I was a choir person in
Mm-hmm.
elementary school and middle school. Unfortunately, I didn't do it in high school. I don't know why. My brain was just like, well, what
Yeah,
if what if I do something else? But I kind of regret it, but I mean, it is what it is. I'm here
yeah.
now. You know,
Mm-hmm.
things happen.
Yes,
Um,
working at a radio station. That is awesome.
yeah, yeah, I really enjoy it. So, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
doing this right now, and that's pretty cool. And I never have, well, I might have the opportunity, maybe, but I mean, this is like a great opportunity, especially for me. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Whenever you play gigs, is there like a special place that you like to like? Have you played somewhere that you really enjoyed, or have you played somewhere where you really did not enjoy?
Yes, to both of those questions. As far as places that I've enjoyed, I'll be pleasant. There's a spot in Murray, Kentucky, where I'm currently living called Terrapin Station, and it's sort of like the hub for Western Kentucky's music scene. And like I lived in Evansville when Boney June's and PG and all those places were up and running, and you know, so I saw a little bit of what like a local city scene could look like. And then when I moved to Murray, Terrapin seemed like Boney June's and PG in the community sense, but all genres were welcome. There's no one thing that wasn't allowed to be presented there. And the people who run it are amazing. I actually host a show on the radio station with the main guy who runs Terrapin Station now, Tim Payton. So that's my favorite place to play. It's like a sweet hometown spot, but also we've been to a lot of places, and there are very few, if any of at all, venues that are like Terrapin.
Oh, that sounds awesome. I'll have to check it out sometime.
Yeah,
When
definitely.
there is something around, because I don't know exactly how far Murray is from Evansville. I don't think
It's
it's
like
too far.
2.5 hours. It's not
Yeah,
bad at all.
it's not that far.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Evansville is like a good spot, especially with like local artists because we have Nashville, we have like Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
We're just like kind of bordering a bunch of different cities.
For
And
sure.
I'm Bloomington, which is,
Mm-hmm.
a pretty, I mean, I wouldn't say like a huge music scene, but there is a music scene there, so which is pretty
Yes,
nice.
definitely. All of those amazing musicians coming out of Jacobs, for sure.
Mm. Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't even realize growing up that like Jacobs like was a thing because I mean I live in Bloomington, but I kind of live on the outskirts. So,
Yeah.
and I as I got older, obviously I was like, oh my gosh, like
Mhm.
wow, because it's
Yep.
supposed to be up there, like with Juilliard too. So
Yeah. Yeah,
I
for
mean
sure.
it's a big thing here. So,
Hmm.
um, do you deal with like feelings of stage fright or nervousness before a show at all?
Yeah, definitely. Especially when I first started playing out, it has gotten better since I've done more shows, but I would get so nervous that my fingers would wiggle on my fretboard because my hands are shaking so bad. And so that was pretty insane. And like at Terrapin, everyone's really close to you. Like people
Mhm.
just sit on the floor. It's really intimate and sweet. But yeah, I would be like, my fingers probably look insane right now. Like I'm just having a seizure in my hand. I always get a little bit nervous. I don't think that
Mhm.
goes away. Uh,
Yeah, I
some
understand.
places are worse than others, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's normal. I feel like
yeah.
if you're not nervous at all, then like I'm kind of like maybe
Yeah, like you're nervous because you care about it. You don't want to
yeah.
just get up there and, you know,
Yeah, just be like I'm here.
exactly. Yeah.
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 Okay. I think we're gonna do one or two more songs.
Okay, cool.
So go ahead and just pick whatever one you want to play next. And hopefully it won't cut out time. Oh my gosh, that was terrible.
Yes. Well, we'll make it happen. Technology is weird.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
It's
so
fun.
I'll do another one off of Dear Diary, and it's called Christmas Party. I held your hair at the last Christmas party. In between breaths, you tell me you're sorry, then leave me to clean. Make your way back to the bar. You planted trees for me, promised me peaches, but you let the roots get choked out with weeds. Is that how you wanted to show me who you really are? Really are. The love I stand to give, somewhere deep between my ribs, is much bigger than you ever could impart. And if I stand alone in the size of weary bones, it's still better than being scrapped for spare parts. My love is not for you to discard. Overstayed welcomes, more empty goodbyes. You said I'm leaving back in mid-July, but the lines came out rehearsed like you'd said them a million times. 'Cause then in November you knocked on my door. You couldn't remember just what you left for. The truth can be reduced to what you do with matter rattling in your mind. In your mind. The love I stand to give, somewhere deep between my ribs, is much bigger than you ever could impart. And if I stand alone in the size of weary bones, it's still better than being scrapped for spare parts. My love is not for you to discard.
I love that.
Thank
That's
you.
so good. Oh my gosh. I like felt like I just got broken up with. Listening to that song.
She's nice.
I was like, oh.
Well, thank
um
you.
I mean like in a good like in a like a wow, that made me feel something kind of way. Not in like a wow, I'm sad now. like
Thank you. I
but
appreciate it.
I mean I feel like that song, especially for me anyways, when hearing it, it's supposed to evoke some feelings, and you're supposed to
Mhm.
hear it and be like, oh yeah, I felt this before, or like,
Yeah.
oh maybe I haven't felt this, I don't want to feel this.
Yeah, and it's weird, the song itself sounds like um, one thing, and it's basically like a universal idea of just anybody not appreciating you and you acknowledging that and stepping away from it and demanding change or saying that you'll step away. And that's with anyone, like a partner or, a business, any situation like that. So,
Yeah, I could definitely feel that kind of like, oh, you do so much for this person or this thing, and not returning the favor or giving you the. I got that.
yeah. Yes.
So with that being said, we're gonna move on to something a little more fun. um,
Cool.
not that that wasn't fun. That was obviously fun. So I do this thing where I just ask some fun questions because not everything's so serious in life. We can have some fun. We can fun things.
Yes. Cool.
Um, so I've kind of been dying to ask this one. It's a little more on the goofier side, but it's a thing. Is cereal soup?
Yes. Cereal is soup. Soup can be cold, and I
Okay.
think cereal is soup. I think it's breakfast soup.
Okay.
The
I
milk is
personally.
broth.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But it's so crunchy. Soup is not
It is
crunchy.
crunchy. But what about soup with like celery in it? There's some crunch in there.
True. True.
So
I don't think I've had a
it's,
lot of soup with celery, so that's probably why.
well, there is that. There is that. I guess if you wait long enough with your cereal, it will be mushy like soup. I used to make ice cream soup when I was little, which was just literally melted ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
So my like bar of what is soup is very low.
Got it. Got it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I like it, but I'm not a big like lover of all soups. Like I kind of like have my specific ones like loaded baked potato or um let's see. I'm not a huge fan of tomato soup. I wish I was because I like tomato things, but tomato
Yep.
soup for me is just not. It's just not it. I've never
It's a
had.
lot of tomato.
Yeah, it's a
It,
lot. It's almost like
yeah.
ketchup to me, and I'm like, I don't want to drink ketchup. You
Yep.
know?
I actually last night, it's so funny that you brought up soup. I made lettuce soup last
Oh,
night and I told my nana that, my grandma, and she had the same reaction. She was like, "Oh, Melanie. Oh, Melanie." It was so good though. It's delicious.
I
It's
I
amazing.
mean I can't say anything because I haven't had it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you even make that? Do you just
You chop up some lettuce and mix it with potatoes, and then you like add some other stuff in there, but you puree it. So it turns into honestly, if I didn't know that it tasted good, I would probably not want to try it because it's literal like green
mm-hmm.
soup. But you know what? Make it spicy, put some onions in there. Forget about
Yep.
it. It's great.
I mean, I like a lot of things that are green. So I
Yeah.
like a lot. I like green tea. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I like celery. I like,
There you
other.
go. Yes.
So maybe I wouldn't mind. Sometimes people just like will see something and they're like, "Ugh, I'm not gonna try that." Like, I have
Mm-hmm.
particular people in my mind right now, but that may or may not be watching this that I know are picky eaters. So I'm like, I don't think they would try that, but I might.
Yeah. I went
Okay.
vegetarian in August of last year, and so it's like forced me. I never really ate vegetables before,
Mhm.
um, which sounds bad, but my palate was like mozzarella sticks and chicken strips. That was it.
Mhm.
And so now I've been forced to get more creative so I don't die of malnutrition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to go vegetarian one time because I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
The meat industry's bad, everything's bad for you.
Yeah.
This is like after watching like a vegetarian documentary, I'm sure. And but then I just couldn't. Like I was
It's tough, dude. It's very
it's
tough.
really
It took
hard.
me like multiple tries for sure.
It's really hard cuz
It
like
is.
uh, there would be like times where like someone would be like, "Oh, well, I made this. Do you want this?" And I'm like, "No, I'm actually trying to be a vegetarian."
Yep. Yeah.
And then they'd be
I know
like,
that feeling. Yeah,
"Yeah."
my boyfriend's stepdad is like a grill master. It's insane the things he can do with like ribs and barbecue and stuff. And I was like, when I first started, I was like, I'll cheat for that. But I
Hmm.
think I'm past the point of that now. Just
Yeah.
Be a world of hurt.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's difficult.
yeah.
Okay, so this one's a good one. If
Yes.
someone narrated your life, who would you want the narrator to be?
That's a good question. Um, who would I want the narrator to be? I
It's hard.
think it is hard because my first thought was like Audrey Hepburn, someone very classy.
Hmm.
She's out of the running, of course, for she is dead. Um, but, someone like her. I also thought Betty White.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh, I didn't even think of Betty White. That's awesome.
yes. Maybe I'll
She's,
go with Betty White. She's a more viable option than Audrey Hepburn right now. So
you know who else? Dolly Parton.
yep, those are also very good. Dolly Parton was a good choice.
Yes, I just
Yep.
thought of that whenever you said Betty White, and then my mind just went Dolly Parton.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Okay. What is one song you'd use to describe yourself or your life? Which is also a very
Hmm.
tricky question. There are a lot of
That
songs out there.
I needed to prepare. Let's
But
see. This one's kind of cheesy, but that's okay. It's okay to be cheesy. I would say one song currently that can describe my life is My Old Man by Joni Mitchell. Especially like hanging out. I've just been with my partner Fate this whole time. We've had a grand time in quarantine being trapped in the same house together. So I would say My Old Man.
awesome, awesome. No,
Yeah,
well, I guess it hasn't gotten that bad where you guys have kicked each other out. So,
exactly. So far, so good.
so far so good. Let's keep it that way.
Yep.
All right, how about let's do one more song and then we'll wrap it
Yeah,
up.
cool. Okay, this one is off of Allegoria, and there's a music video out for it. I released it in February. That was part of the February tour. And I believe, yeah, that's when nope, never mind. I just got my two tours mixed up, so I'm going to ignore that thought I was going towards. Um, this was released in February. It is about an old port town in Italy, south of Rome, that was around before Jesus Christ was around, regardless of your religious affiliation, before he even existed. And so they didn't have like the Christian concept of a heaven or hell. All they had to think of as far as an afterlife were the memories in which these people would live. So their loved ones' remains, they would cremate them and the urns would be up in their house. And it was a really big deal to remember the people who had died because that's how they lived on. So this is my song about it, uh, and trying to figure out what the perfect memory to spend eternity in would be. Closest thing to heaven or hell is the feeling I get when you tell of me the roots of the willow trees nudge me softly out of my sleep, so I can look upon your memory and weep for you with you for me. I don't need no idols, and I do well without beads. I find it feels better to lie between the heather and weeds. My soul would climb up a dandelion path and catch the wind somewhere. Leave the granite alone, don't you look for my bones, they're not there. Because the closest thing to heaven or hell is the feeling I get when you tell of me the roots of the willow trees nudge me softly out of my sleep, so I can look upon your memory and weep. Ooh. If you could, I'd like a forward when the red sun's just a hint of warm. When the homespun joys watered down the poison at our back doors. If it all you choose to keep, anything, let it be the way I speak to you. Don't let my voice get weaker, unable to greet your conscience once more. Because the closest thing to heaven or hell is the feeling I get when you tell of me. The roots of the willow trees nudge me softly out of my sleep, so I can look upon your memory and weep.
Yay! Oh my gosh, I love that. It
Hey.
even like sounds a little bit like Italian, like if that makes sense. Like I don't
Yeah.
like like the way it's strummed, I guess, is
Mm-hmm.
this way. Just like
Yeah,
I don't know if that
thank you.
makes sense, but
No, it totally does. That is absolutely what I was going for, so thank you.
okay, awesome. That's great. That's great. I don't know if you've seen the movie Call Me by Your Name, but
Oh,
it's it's okay. Basically it's focused in the 80s in Italy and like a small town, and so
wow.
it kind of made me that in a way. So
Very cool.
um okay, so the last question is something that, you know, it's a nice way to end things, to give people a little spark, a little sense of hope.
Yes.
So like what advice would you give people that are wanting to get involved with music?
There is a genre or a style or anything, a band for everybody. Like, I think music is so very versatile, and like there are rules, you know, but they're liable to be broken, and they have been broken for like centuries and centuries. So I would say just keep at it. And you know, the weird thing when you're first starting out, I've been singing ever since I can remember. I was like a really obnoxious little kid and would sing all the time. And, you know, so I, throughout the course of my life, as my voice has changed, I would try to imitate people's actual voices, like
Mm-hmm.
just match the color for sure. And it was frustrating because I was trying to be something that I wasn't. And so if you just sort of let go of the sort of parameters that already recorded music puts you in, and just, you know, sound weird, sound different, because it only sounds weird and different because nobody's made it popular yet. So that's my advice.
Well, that was really good. That I would totally agree with that. That's I can completely agree because, you know, when I was doing choir when I was younger, it's all about matching and making the pitch so right,
Mm-hmm.
everything right, you know, singing these songs with a bunch of other people. So I think I kind of learned from that. I was like, oh, I must sound just like them in order to match it. But no, that's not true. That's
Mm-hmm.
not true.
Yep.
Okay, so it's time to do the giveaway.
Hooray!
Um, I'm going to look at my text messages because I'm supposed to get like a text message about who won.
Okay.
And it might pause. It might pause. It might end. I'm not quite sure. If it does
Okay.
end, just be ready to get right back on it. I don't think it will, but we'll see.
Cool. Cool.